What kind of returns can you get if you have $250,000 to invest in Toronto real estate? If you've watched our other videos before, you probably know that our team focuses on freeholds in the Toronto core, and $250,000 is generally the threshold that you need to get started right now in 2021. We invest in freeholds because of better cash flows and more stable appreciation, so long-term returns tend to be better than Toronto condos. But within this freehold space, there's still different options available, and that's what I'll be talking about today. In this video, I'll compare 3 different Toronto freehold options that each require around $250K in capital. If they have different purchase prices, renovation requirements, and rent yield, how would their total returns vary? Before I dive in, remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss other real estate investing videos like this from our Elevate team. Let's talk about what's included in the $250K capital requirement first. I'm assuming that all 3 properties are strictly investments, so they all have a 20% down payment. We'll also be paying additional closing costs, which includes land transfer taxes and legal fees. Finally, if the property needs renovations, they'll also come out of pocket, so that will be added to the total capital requirements. On a separate note, I'm also assuming that the appreciation rates of all 3 properties are the same, growing at 5% per year. We'll call our first property, unoriginally, Property A. Property A is our most expensive property at $1.1 million, but it's also turnkey, which means there's no renovations required. The investment capital comes primarily from a higher down payment of $220,000 plus $38,000 in closing costs. So the total actual capital requirement is $258,000. The rest of the investment is paid with a mortgage of $880,000. Because it's a higher priced property, there is a higher barrier of entry, which also means better cap rates at 4.2%. If you don't know what cap rate is, it's basically a rent yield metric. The higher the better, and you can learn more about it in this video right here. This property has 3 units, which rents out for a total of $4,900 per month, and the net monthly cash flow is $800. So let's look at the total returns after 5 years. We'll use percentage returns since it's a better comparison because our investment capital will vary slightly between the 3 properties I'm going to go through. The 5-year total return for property A comes from market appreciation, cash flows, and mortgage paydown, and it's at 145%. The next property, Property B, is our mid-price property at $950,000. This property requires some cosmetic renovations of $30,000 before we rent it out. The initial capital is similar at $252,000 with $190,000 in down payment, $32,000 in closing costs, and the rest, like I mentioned, is in renovations. It's a smaller property. It only has 2 units and lower cap rates at 3.7%. Total monthly rents are at $4,000, bringing the monthly cash flow to $500 at the end of each month. Even though we do have lower cap rates, we get value add appreciation here because we renovated the property. So the 5-year total return is actually better in Property B at 148%. Property C is our lowest priced property at $850,000. It also requires the most renovations at $60K before we can rent it out. The actual investment is more or less the same at $258,000, $170K in down payment, $28K in closing costs, and $60K in renovations. After renovations, the rents are similar to Property B, and when you combine this with a smaller mortgage, we have better cash flows at $800 per month. We also get the most value add appreciation here, so the 5-year total return for Property C is 165%. If you look purely from a return standpoint, Property C looks the most attractive, but it might not be right for everyone. You'd actually choose Property A if you don't want to deal with any renovations. Even though you don't get the value add appreciation, a higher priced property has better cap rates, so your total return is still very good. You can also argue that there's lower tenant concentration risk here because there's more units. The hardest part here is the mortgage qualifications. Because it is a higher priced property, you'll need a bigger mortgage, which might be your biggest barrier. You choose Property B if you want more balanced returns from multiple sources of income, cash flows, market appreciation, principal paydown, plus value add appreciation. In exchange, you'll have more upfront work to do here, but the renovation risk is low since it's just cosmetic. Another thing is you might be limited to these options if you can't qualify for a bigger mortgage and buy property A. Property C, like I mentioned, has the best returns because you get the biggest benefit from value add appreciation. However, this typically involves more renovation risk, so you really need to be more experienced to come out successful. These properties are also lower priced, which means they are easier to qualify for and have better cash flows. Finally, if you're looking to grow your real estate portfolio quickly, many investors choose these properties because the value add appreciation can give you a big bump in your property value over a short period of time. If you want to learn more about this strategy, you can check out this video right here. Now, if we look at this in a different way, we can see that the best real estate returns come from a combination of better cap rates and additional value add appreciation. So if you have more capital and can qualify for larger mortgages, then choosing higher priced properties that require renovations can generate you the best returns. On the other hand of the spectrum, if your limiting factor is capital, then you can look into house hacking to qualify for a higher mortgage. House hacking is essentially a fancy term that basically means that you're living in one of the units in your investment property. When you live in a property, instead of a 20% down payment, you can qualify for a lower down payment with mortgage insurance. This can mean the difference between the ability to only invest in a condo while renting a separate place to live versus now being able to invest in a house. When you compare these two options, there is less outgoing cash flow if you house hack. You'll get more appreciation and principal paydown in absolute terms, and you'll get better leverage as well. From a return standpoint, you'll get better returns if you are okay with living in part of your investment property. I'll make a separate video about this comparison, so if you're interested, make sure you subscribe so that you can watch this video when it's out. If you're not sure what type of freehold investment property in Toronto is right for you, we'd be happy to give you some recommendations. Please feel free to reach out by heading to the link I'll put in the description below. Finally, if you like this video, please remember to give us a thumbs up and share it on your favorite social media platform, and remember to tag us at Elevate Realty CA. I wish you all the best in your real estate investing journey. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.